Hi gorgeous! Happy Frugal Friday to you. If you're new to the channel, welcome! I make videos like this every Friday focusing on drugstore products, so please subscribe to be notified of new videos in the future. Today I'm reviewing a whole new brand that has recently come to my attention from many of you, and that is LOTTIE London. These are available on Ulta's website. I'm not sure if they're available in stores just yet. I bought enough to do a full face with, so I'll be showing you an application with each of these products today, giving you my review as we go along, and I've also included a wear test at the end of the video so you can see how they held up, and I'll let you know, are they worth getting or not? We'll start first with the eyes. Great place to start. The palette that I picked up is called the Russ, and there are 12 eyeshadows within this palette. And when I first took it out of the box, I had a sneaky suspicion that this was possibly a dupe for Urban Decay's Naked Heat palette. While there is one eyeshadow, only one, in this palette that does dupe with one of the shades in Urban Decay's Naked Heat, unfortunately this is not a dupe for Urban Decay's palette. Very sad to tell you that, but anyway. The pigmentation was pretty good with some shades in this palette, other shades not so much, so it's a little hit and miss throughout this palette. And with the shades that weren't so great in pigmentation, I found that I had to keep reapplying them on my eyes to get them to show up. Had to apply them wet before I could get the true color vibrancy to show. I also picked up an eyeliner pencil, and this is the AM to PM Kohl eyeliner pencil in the shade Mermaid. Look at that pigmentation. It's insane. There was no work, no effort required whatsoever with this pencil when I applied it on the waterline. It showed up instantly. And I have not seen a drugstore priced pencil this good since the Rimmel Scandaleyes line. Very impressed by this one. For the brows, I picked up two different products to try, a pencil and an eyeshadow powder. Both of these products are in the shade Light. So I first defined my eyes with the pencil and went back with the powder to fill in the sparse areas. Now I did like how both of these products performed. They were very smooth in application, they didn't drag against the skin, and it was a very natural look by the time I was finished. I personally didn't care for the color match. To me it was a little too ashy for my hair color. It would work better if I were blonde, as an example. So if you can find a color match with the LOTTIE London eyebrow products, I'd say they're absolutely worth trying. But if you're a redhead, I don't think they're gonna work so well for us, unfortunately. I also picked up a foundation from LOTTIE London. This is called Selfie Ready. It is a medium coverage foundation with a matte finish. And the shade that I'm using here is, what shade is this? Ivory. This is a water-based foundation, so you would need to pair it up with a water-based primer if you were going to use one. I found this very hard to blend into the skin. It was a little more troublesome than normal, and I spent a lot of time, much more time than I usually do, blending this in than I would like. What I will say is, thank goodness the coverage was really beautiful on the skin, because after all the work that I spent blending that in, I was hoping it wasn't going to be disappointing in that respect. Miko! Dude! What are you doing? Really? Come here! What are you doing? Say hi to everybody. Say Happy Frugal Friday. We're wearing the same color blue, almost. Yours is a little lighter than mine. Can you believe how big he's gotten? It's so hard to believe. I remember when you were a shrimp. Next product I tried out is the Got It Covered Sponge Applicator Concealer, and the shade that I'm using here is Shell. Unfortunately with this one, I applied way too much, and I figured that out immediately after I had applied it, so I wiped most of it away on my other eye, but I left the one eye with too much underneath the way that it was because I wanted to see if there was going to be a difference in wear time based on applying too much or a very small amount. Needless to say, this is a very full coverage concealer, and a little bit goes a long way. I would compare it to the NYX Gotcha Covered Concealer, the waterproof one I tested recently. Very same type of application with this one. Tiny, tiny amount will give you full coverage. This concealer is really hard to blend into the skin, and it's even harder to blend into the skin after you've allowed it to sit underneath your eyes. And that's one of my bad habits when it comes to concealer. I'll typically apply it underneath both eyes, blend one eye first, and then go back and blend the other. This concealer you just can't do that with, because the longer it sits there, the harder it is to blend, and it starts to look splotchy and uneven. it's a mess to work with. And for setting the face, I used the LOTTIE London Ready Set Go Matte Translucent Finishing Powder, and this is in the shade True Translucent. Unfortunately, this one does contain silica, and it will make your face look very white on flash photography. I tested it out, and yeah, no. If you're gonna be under lights or flash photography, it will give your skin a white cast. And for the lips, I tried the LOTTIE London Slay All Day Long Wear Matte Liquid Lipstick, and this is in the shade Squad. I liked the application with this one, love the color, and it dried down very quickly too, which I was most impressed by. All right, now we've reached the portion of the video that matters the most. I'm gonna show you how these products looked after wearing them for 8 straight hours. So we'll start with the eyeshadow. As you can see here, this is what it looked like at the end of the day. It wore pretty well, but I felt like the colors started to bleed together more than I would like for them to. And it was hard to differentiate where I had applied each one. I typically don't like to see that when it comes to eyeshadow, so a little disappointed by that. The eyeliner held up extremely well. Look at how vibrant that is on my waterline. For after 8 hours of wear, extremely impressed. Same thing can be said with the brow pencil and the powder that I used. Held its own, didn't move, didn't look cakey or splotchy by the end of the day. Beautiful wear time with this one. Foundation, not so impressed by this one. And on close inspection with this one, especially if you're watching in HD, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. It looked splotchy around the face, and I felt like it was starting to pull out dry skin on my face too. It wasn't a flattering foundation at the end of the day. Same can be said with the concealer. It looked very cakey. Didn't like this one after the application, didn't like it after wearing it all day, so I don't recommend trying it. Same thing with the powder. Very disappointed by this one. It did not hold up well at all. My face was extremely shiny by the end of the day, and I have other drugstore powders that will hold my face together and do not look shiny after 8 hours. Sonia Kashuk as an example. Excellent powder. And finally, the lips. You know, after 8 hours worth of eating, drinking, kissing Jet, having a grand old time with my lips, I have to tell you, I'm pretty impressed with the wear time that I'm showing you here. It wore away a little bit in the center of the bottom lip, but for the price, the color, application, all things considered, I was pretty pleased with the performance of this one, and I recommend it highly. Overall, I wasn't very happy with a lot of the products that I tried for you in this video. The brow products were pretty good, liked them in terms of consistency, application, etc. Didn't like they didn't have a color match for me. I would recommend those if you can find a color match. I love the eyeliner pencil. I thought it was fantastic quality, longevity, pigmentation, superb. The face products were very disappointing to me. Eyeshadow palette was so-so. I could really just take it or leave it. I've tried other drugstore eyeshadows that are much better by comparison. Let me know if you've tried any cosmetics from LOTTIE London, what your favorites are, and which ones you are just not that impressed by. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more like this in the future, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you again next week.